Hi, welcome to another edition of the Daily Record High School Football Insider. We're previewing the Week 6 games. I'm Aaron Dorkesen, sports editor, along with Mike Plant. Mike, we have another big slate of games this week.
Yeah, we do, Aaron. The big one out in Jeromesville in the Wayne County Athletic League, and the wild and wacky Ohio Cardinal Conference, which through two games, surprisingly, the West Home Knights are at the top of the conference, tied with Clear Fork. Orville will be taking the trip down to Millersburg Friday night to take on the Knights, and Worcester will be traveling, making a longer trip down to Clear Fork to play the Clear Fork Colts. And Aaron, last week, the Orville Red Riders were dealt a surprising setback over at Mansfield Senior, and not only did they get beat, they got beat up a little bit.
You know, to borrow a line from retiring Cleveland Indians broadcaster Mike Hegan, what a week it's been in the OCC, upsets galore. The West Holmes win over Ashland, coming from down 22 points to beat them for the first time ever, one of the biggest upsets I can recall. Orville was upset over at Mansfield Senior, as you mentioned. Worcester was upset in its homecoming game by Mansfield Madison. But really the game of the week this week is Orville traveling to West Holmes. I think we're really going to find out what both of these teams are really made of. Really clutch game for computer points. Orville's going to be fighting some adversity with not only coming off the loss, but star player Mason Monheim broke his left hand. So Orville's going to have to find out how much he can carry the football. He is expected to play defense. The hand will just be clubbed up, casted up, as Coach DeVault said. And also another standout, Drew Brenner, probably going to be sidelined by an ankle injury. A couple other guys are out as well. And they're going to have to control a West Holmes running attack that is led by Garrett Mackey. Lane Perrone's a good runner, Joey Gonzalez, and then the quarterback Gabe Snyder. He threw the game-winning touchdown pass. So really an interesting game down there. Orville's going to have to limit its turnovers, its penalties, but they have good playmakers with quarterback Kyle Lichty, wide receiver Stuart Turner. The big question for me is who can step up and run the ball, but it should be a great game down there. Mike, and Worcester has a big game going to Clear Fork. A lot of people counted the Colts out after losing some great players, the defending champs, but hey, they're right and tied for first with West Holmes too.
Yes, they sure are, Aaron. Yeah, they lost a lot of players off of the team that won the Ohio Cardinal Conference a year ago, including Jordan McCune, one of the best running backs I've seen in the Ohio Cardinal Conference's 8-year history. But the Colts are right back there at the top again after starting the season 2-0 in the league. And Worcester traditionally has not fared well against the Colts. They beat Clear Fork the first two times in the OCC and have since lost 5 straight to Clear Fork. And not many of them have been close games. And I think, Aaron, the big thing is for Worcester, they just got to try to rebound from 2 really disappointing defeats. Last week's homecoming loss to Madison was one that was not expected. And really, I would think they're going down to Belleville Friday night with their season on the line. I mean, I could see the general season going either way. The defense got a little bit better last week, only giving up 27 points. I say only because they had been giving up, in upwards of 42, 44 points a game in their losses for the last couple of years. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how the Generals rebound down in Belleville.
Well, let's look at the OCC matchups. Up next, we'll come back and talk about the Wayne County Athletic League, including a huge game when Smithville travels to Hillsdale. Welcome back to the Daily Record High School Football Insider. Mike, huge game in the Wayne County Athletic League. Smithville 4-1, 2-0, traveling to Hillsdale. That's 5-0, 2-0, the defending league champ.
Yeah, Aaron, the Smithville Smithies have rebounded after a 4-year run when they only won 15 games combined after dominating the Wayne County Athletic League earlier in the 2000s, including an 8-year playoff run that was snapped in 2006. They really haven't been relevant on the area football scene since then. But they'll go out over to Jeromesville Friday night, led by a rushing attack averaging almost 400 yards a game behind a huge offensive line. And there's Smithville doesn't try to fool anybody. They're going to line up, get in their wing tee offense, Mark Hilty is the leading rusher with over 600 yards, but they also have 4 other guys capable of carrying the ball, including quarterback Alex Bates, who's averaging over 10 yards a carry. And as a team, Aaron, they're averaging over 7 yards each time they rush the ball. And I think last week we even saw their defense has stepped up, throwing a shutout in a big early Wayne County Athletic League game down at Apple Creek.
Well, we were able to get some comments from Keith Schrock on the game and on his team. Let's hear those now.
It's another weekend for league play, and we got to be ready to go. Hillsdale obviously is undefeated and defending county champs, so it's going to be a real challenge for us.
This week you're in practice. Are you working on anything to combat what they might throw at you?
Oh yeah. I mean, we prepare weekly for whoever we're playing on Friday, and but this is no different than any other week, except obviously probably the best team we played this year.
Okay. Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Sure.
Those are the comments of Smithville coach Keith Schrock. Hillsdale, all they've done is go undefeated. They're defending league champs, but yet a lot of people, Mike, seem to be jumping on the Smithville bandwagon in this and talking about Norwayne. But hey, nobody's beaten Hillsdale to take away this mantle yet, have they?
No, they haven't. Their schedule has been a little bit questionable, but there's not much they can do about that, especially when they get into the Wayne County Athletic League. But talking to Tom Williams earlier today, he knows it's a big win for them because right now the Falcons reside, I think, 16th in the Division 5 Region 19, which is a long way from playoff contention. They've been in the playoffs a couple times, and I think they kind of expect that now. Hillsdale is the one team in the area that can match up with Smithville's size along the front. With a couple of, they're at least as big as Smithville's offensive line, and of course they have big defensive tackle Spencer Hamilton anchoring down, 330-pound Spencer Hamilton anchoring down the defensive line. They're also led defensively by inside linebackers Trevor Bottiger and Josh Barr, a pair of 3-year starters, and 2-year starting quarterback Trevor Klein is very smart with the football, doesn't turn it over, and I know that he's really caught the eye of Smithville's Keith Schrock.
Yeah, as far down in the playoff ratings as Hillsdale is, they may have to run the table in the Wayne County League. Smithville is 6th in Division 5 Region 19. Let's go ahead and hear some comments from Hillsdale coach Tom Williams on his team.
You're going up against a 4-1 Smithville team this weekend. Any thoughts on how the teams contrast each other?
I think both of us have very good offensive and defensive lines. I think we have a lot of tough kids on both teams, and I think both teams are going to bring it Friday night.
Being the defending league champions, has teams given you any different looks than you may have prepared for by watching film or anything like that?
I just think teams are going to give us their very best effort. I think any time that you've won a league title, that puts a target on you, and teams have come and played real hard against us. And
those were the comments of Tom Williams. The other 2 games in the Wayne County Athletic League has the teams that have been struggling so far a little bit. You have Dalton 0-5, 0-2, traveling to Northwestern 1-4, 1-1. The Huskies got their first win last week, and then the battle for the Big Chief, Chippewa 0-5, 0-2, goes to Rittman with the same record. The Indians haven't won. There's a good amount of interest in this one, Mike. People wondering, debating a little bit who's going to win this one. It may be the only win the Indians and Chips can get.
Well, we talk about the Worcester-Orville rivalry being the longest and the most tradition-filled one in the area, Aaron. Actually, Chippewa and Rittman will be meeting for the 112th time, which is 10 or 11 more than Worcester and Orville have even done. So these guys have been button heads for a long time, and you're right, the last win Chippewa got total was in 2009, was a victory in the Big Chief game over Rittman. So I know that Kevin Wolf, Chippewa's second-year head coach, who has yet to have a win out there, is going to have his team ready to play, and I'm sure Rittman is well-versed in the rivalry, so that'll be a good one. And I think the one out of Northwestern, too, when we talk about teams young teams that are hungry to win, and they see these games as winnable ball games. So I think that could be an interesting matchup, too.
Yeah, I agree. That the Bulldogs and the Huskies, these are 2 teams that have had pretty recent success, a lot of pride, good coaches, a new head coach in Mike Doty. And the Chippewa-Rittman, pretty unique thing. They play for the actual Big Chief Trophy. If one team wins it 3 years in a row, they retire the Big Chief, and that school gets to keep it in their trophy case. The losing school has to buy a new one. So pretty good rivalry, and we'll come back and we'll check out the rest of the area schedule after this.
Welcome back to the Daily Record High School Football Insider. Alongside Aaron Dorkesen, I'm Mike Plant. And Aaron, we covered most of the Wayne County Athletic League, but we saved another big matchup when Waynedale travels to Creston to take on Norwayne. Norwayne, of course, 5-0, 2-0 in the WCAL, and has been a dominant team in the league. Waynedale, on the other hand, trying to bounce back from a big shutout defeat to Smithville.
Yeah, I mean, the Norway Bobcats, probably the area's hottest team. They're averaging 49 points a game. They're only giving up 6 a game. They're coming off a 61-7 win over Rittman. And then the opposite side of the spectrum, Waynedale is really going to have to regroup after losing to Smithville 42-0. The big thing for Waynedale, they're going to have to stop the run of that Norwayne. Norwayne spreads the field, but then really runs the ball hard at you, led by quarterback Adam Wallace, the Zimmerly brothers, a lot of other good athletes. So that should be a good one over in Norwayne. And checking out the rest of the schedule, Mike, the Principals Athletic Conference, Triway, still looking for that first win. They're going to head to CVCA, that's 3-2, 2-0. And then Tuslaw, 3-2, 1-1's going to Tusky Valley.
Yeah, I think Aaron, Triway, they're at the point now where it's time to start playing some young kids and kind of prepare for the future, which we've already seen in the transition to freshman quarterback Parker Carmichael, who's had a couple of decent games, and Kyle Kearney has turned out to be a pretty good weapon and a pretty good target for Carmichael. And looking at a couple of other games in the Suburban League, Copley will travel to Cloverleaf, and the Colts will get their third straight week of a Suburban League toughie after opening up with Wadsworth and then Greene. All three of these teams are still unbeaten, and we've seen what Copley can do. And last, Utica will travel to Loudonville. I don't think, Aaron, there's been a team in the area that's faced a tougher first half of the season than Loudonville. 4 out of the 5 teams they've played are still unbeaten at 5-0, and the team that Loudonville beat, Danville, was 3-0 when the Redbirds beat them. Yeah,
so that's covered all the area games. I guess to close, the biggest thing I'm looking for this week, really interested to see how this Orville at West Holmes game will turn out. West Holmes is running attack. Can they move the ball and control the clock with the fastest defense and maybe the best defense in the area, Orville? Anything big you're looking at or specifics from a matchup, Mike?
Well, from that game, I would say that the one guy I would think I would trust with a broken hand, or he could have a broken leg, I think Mason Monheim would be able to gain some yardage against just about anybody. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the Knights' potent run offense matches up with Orville's defense, which hasn't given up too much on the ground. Over at Hillsdale, Aaron, I think it'll be a great battle. In the trenches, especially with a lot of size on both sides of the football. Smithville has had a success possessing the ball, and I think it'll be, the big key is, I think, if Hillsdale can not only keep the ball but put some points on the board too.
Well, there you have it. Thanks for watching again this week, and enjoy the games.